Good afternoon, everybody. It's John Ross with the XPian Daily News Report for the 9th of December. Today, we're privileged to have Ryan Reuland with us. He's with the Reuland Food Service, and we're going to be talking about a lot about food service and other things, but we're going to basically talk about the feeding the front line. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to bring up Ryan now here, and Ryan's going to join us here, and I'm going to take down this right now. And what happened to Ryan? There, we'll get him back. He's coming back. There he is. Glad to have Ryan with us, and we're just going to be talking about what's happening with Reuland there. And I must say, Ryan, I've been with Reuland's has been part of my weekly thing, usually with Kiwanis. It's almost weekly, and I say 80 to 90% of the Kiwanis meetings have had Reuland catering. We have other outside things, so it varies. But we've had that for about the last 9-10 years. So I've had a lot of different things from your menu, Ryan. So
as a lot of Aurora has.
So I know a lot about Reuland's, and sometimes we have extra food, and I have Reuland's extra food. So well, anyway, so I know a lot about Reuland's that way, and I've been out to Reuland's sometimes on Sunday afternoon to their establishment, had some food there, and we've done a few things with Reuland's in the past, and we've recently the Kiwanis have had box lunches with Reuland during this pandemic. So Reuland's is doing quite a bit in Aurora and the area. And Ryan, why don't you just give us a little about yourself and just about Reuland's there, and whatever you want to say about Reuland's. But I just appreciate you being with us, Ryan.
No, thanks for having us. Well, I'm Ryan Reuland, and I co-own Reuland Food Service with my sister, Bridget Reuland, and my dad, Jeff Reuland. And my sister and I are third generation. My grandparents started catering out of their house on the east side of Aurora in the mid-1950s, primarily focusing on doing weddings and that type of thing. That's kind of really where we got our start, because my grandpa at the time was still a supervisor with Thor Power Tools.
That's no more though, but it was there. I remember the building. It's gone.
Yeah, it's been gone for quite a while, but at the time he was kind of dual duty, starting his catering business and working at Thor Power Tools. And then, so that was in the mid-1950s. And then we opened our location on Oak Ave in the old fruit juice house in, I think, 1970 or 1971. And that's where we've been ever since. We've put on thousands of square feet of additions over the years because, our deli has always kind of been a small piece of what we do. We primarily are, event catering, weddings, family gatherings, corporate functions, that type of thing. So we needed a lot more room than we would necessarily need if we were just doing our daily lunch business. It's my dad has been part of the business ever. He graduated from the CIA, which is the Culinary Institute of America.
I got confused.
And came to work here with his parents, and then we had an uncle that was part of the business for many years, and then he relocated to Wisconsin and does kind of a carbon copy of what we do here up there in up near Minocqua. And my sister started shortly after high school. I went to college, worked in construction management for a little while, and then joined the family business. And, I guess that's really kind of a brief snapshot of who we are, where we came from.
Right. You've been an institution.
I went to school in Aurora.
Yeah. You went to school in Aurora. I'm a Batavia school person, but it's close.
Yeah, I went to Martin. I went to Marmion, and my sister
Oh,
went to
well,
Rosary.
that's right next to Batavia. It's real close.
Yeah,
It's right on the
sure.
border. About.
Yep.
It's actually that's a strange location, Marmion. I think it's
It's
I forgot
technically
it. They say
Aurora.
it's Aurora, but it's actually I think it's in North Aurora more than Aurora, but I don't know. It's right on the line. It's in Aurora Township, but it's right on the border with Batavia too. So it's pretty close to where I'm at here. Uh, so Ryan, how's this COVID-19 affected your work there with the catering and the deli and everything? How's that done?
Well, I'll tell you from the deli perspective, it hasn't. We've still been able to do carry out, which is primarily what we did. We didn't rely heavily on dine-in service. We don't have table service. We're kind of like a cafeteria style in that regards in our
Right.
deli. So it's certainly back in the very beginning. We had to kind of pivot and do this curbside and trying to come up with how are we going to do this and do all these different things. And because at that time, for years and years and years, the deli was something that we were doing on a daily basis, but the majority of what we did and our income came from catering, primarily larger events and all the things that pretty much went away. Weddings.
Right.
We had been contracted with the Fox Valley Park District for this would have been our 20th year, providing concessions at some of their seasonal locations, and none of those locations opened this year, so we didn't have any of that. Lots of people have been to after funeral luncheons that we catered. That was another thing that we did a lot of, and those were significantly reduced immediately. There was a little bump in the summer of when we kind of opened back up to the 50 people gathering. We were able to capture a couple of small weddings back, but I'd say we've had over 50 weddings canceled since the beginning of this. And there are, people are starting, kind of everybody was canceling through the end of this year, and now we're starting to see February and March.
Right. It's still not there yet.
No, so it's we're starting to talk to the clients that we have for February and March, saying that they're looking at possibly moving it to later in the year, or nobody really knows what's going to be dictated at that point. So we're just hanging tight, see how it goes. We've been fortunate to be awarded some of the grant money that exists out there, and the PPP that really helped us kind of keep people going.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that
Yeah.
what's it? PPP, right? It's through PPP, not PPE. That's the other. That's the masks and all that. But this is PPP.
Yep. So we did that, and then back in the spring, kind of where the Feed the Frontline thing came into play. We were looking around for what are we going to do, knowing that our deli is not going to support the people that we have working for us without the event catering, because that was
right
pretty much eliminated for several months at the beginning, and now again towards the end.
Ryan, I want to interrupt one thing before we go off to the front feeding. I want to show you some things that I put up. I want to just put this up real fast here. I'm gonna put myself down if I can do that here. Okay, well, there's the menu. I guess the audio part. I got to work on that better, Ryan. But there's the today's menu. It's pretty small there, but you offer that online each day, I assume, because it says Wednesday on this menu.
Yep, it's that's kind of that was something that made the transition difficult for us in the beginning, because a lot of restaurants have a fixed menu, and they're just able to take that fixed menu and move it to just kind of a curbside scenario. For us, ours was, like I said, more of a cafeteria style, and it changed. Our menu changed every day. We had a couple of the things. We always have our sliced order deli sandwiches and our roast beef and some of the other things that we have every single day. But for the most part, we changed up our entrees every day because, we have a lot of our clientele are people that come in 3-4 times a week. And, they wouldn't be able to do that if we had the same offerings all the time. So for our deli, at least, we've always tried to mix it up. It's changes on a daily basis. So to try to get that out, communicate that out to people, that proved to be a challenge. When you're going, trying to move. For a while, we moved to just a fixed offering. We had 10 different things that you could get on a daily basis. And then as things started to ease up on the restrictions during, the middle of the year a little bit, we found, a lot of these people that were wanting to come in, they wanted us to go back to the format of mixing it up. So that's kind of what we did, and we stuck with that. And
okay. And I'm going to just show, this is basically the services that they offer, but some of them are, I'm sure, changing because of COVID here, but it's online. You can see that at their website, some of their things. And one more thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was real interesting on your website, Ryan, was I have to take something. I'll take this down here. Was this idea of a Christmas menu? You have a Christmas menu. I see a Christmas Eve menu. Is that you're offering a carry-out Christmas Eve type of experience, right?
Yes. So that's essentially going to be prepared meals that people can heat up at home. We had on Thanksgiving, for the last 30 years, we always offered like a whole turkey that you could pick it up hot, ready to go on Thanksgiving.
Really?
And then this year we had a huge response to the individual dinners, because we've always sold a couple hundred individual dinners on Thanksgiving Day where people would come into the deli, pick out a ham or a turkey dinner, take it home hot to eat it, for people that might not have a big group. And obviously this year that the number of people not having a big group was much higher. So we had,
It is. I can tell you about that myself.
yeah, we had a huge response to that. It was insanely busy on Thanksgiving, and we were very grateful for all the people that came out. And there was some extended wait times because we had to move from having people come in because it just wouldn't have been safe. I mean, we, in years past there would have been 50 people in line, so they're in the deli, they're out on the sidewalk waiting to get in to get their dinner. So we had to go to all curbside, and it made for a very interesting day. So for Christmas, we're doing similar format. We have always done like a package that was meant for a family meal of 8 to 10, 12 people. And this year we had to kind of scale that. And the biggest response we're getting now is people are calling and ordering 3 or 4 individual meals from those Christmas packages. So we're doing, that. We've created some time slots. So it's, we have a specific time so we can meter the number of people that come at any given time to help through some of the issues that we experienced on Thanksgiving with long waits. Realize, not knowing how it would work out, having so many people picking up orders and having them all having to be brought outside to their cars.
Right.
So we've made some modifications to our format. We're planning to reduce the total number of orders that we're going to take, just to kind of make for a better customer experience as far as waiting. And those will all be taken, prepared meals that they can take home. Everything gets packaged in a microwave safe container, so they can, if they want to just stick it in the microwave, they can do that, because, obviously things are going to look a lot different than they have in years past. This Christmas, with people, not getting together with their families and having big meals where everybody's helping themselves to this, that, and the other thing. So,
that's great.
And that's kind of, been the theme throughout this whole pandemic. Initially, we created, so also on the catering side, we were doing individually packaged meals for corporate any type of event. So, and that's also been hugely successful. So it's, instead of getting big pans of food that people were traditionally used to, companies are getting individualized meals. Yesterday, we prepared 600 individual meals for Carl Buddig company out there off of Orchard Road, and we're doing a lot of companies are calling in, and we're just doing individual
Wow.
meals, and that's also available on our website under the corporate individually catering menu, because that's everybody wants to try to have it packaged individually, so there's not a lot of that cross contamination.
Right.
So that's probably that's the biggest pivot that we have had to do, is going from preparing large pans of
Right.
food for events to everything is packaged individually.
Right. Now, I noticed on this, I know you mentioned about, being prepared. I think you want the people to give you a buzz on about a week before Christmas for for these meals, I think, right? So you have time to prepare them. Is that correct? I think.
Yeah, and what we actually did is we saw after the first week or so of this being out, there was traditionally this was kind of our theme was to have these as packages for 5 people or 10 people or whatever, and we were getting lots of calls of people wanting one prime rib
Right.
dinner, one ham dinner that they wanted to pick up and be able to heat at home because they were going to be alone on Christmas. So we kind of changed the format to what it reads there, and those individual meals we're having picked up on the 23rd, and then the 24th will be for more of the package type things, because there are still people that are, historically, what we do the most on the 24th is people buy our roast beef and our homemade salads. So they're buying 5 pounds of beef and 3 pounds of ham. And so we reserve the 24th for just those orders. And then the 23rd will be for people that only are looking to get an individual meal or a couple of individual meals.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to bring those items up, and then that leads us to your thinking that you I sort of got us off. You were ready to discuss about how this pandemic's caused you thinking differently, and in March and April, and there you were doing you're feeding the front line. So why don't you explain a little more about feeding the front line, and how you're doing that?
Sure. So that was just kind of I've said this before. It was inspiration out of desperation, because we were really looking back in March, after a couple of weeks of doing the curbside pickup and family packs and that kind of thing. It just, that wasn't a sustainable model for us based on what we traditionally do. And so I was doing some research, looking around out there at what other things were happening around the country, and I stumbled upon this. I think it was in New York. It was just a small business that put out a logo that said "Feeding the Front Line" with the little lunch bag there, the logo that I have attached to the "Feeding the Front Line," and it was a very basic concept that you reach out. You have a community that wants to support people, and you have a product that you can use to support. And so we started reaching out. We had several corporate sponsors at that time that chimed in and said, "Hey, we want to sponsor 500 meals or 100 meals," and certainly individuals and some very, very generous folks that were just grateful. And we ended up collecting sponsorships for just around 10,000 of the box lunches that we distributed to
Wow.
all the hospitals, to all the other first responders, the police, fire, homeless shelters, food pantries, everybody that was really working. And, it was kind of the thing was, the governor came on TV and said that they were closing down everybody that wasn't, or stay home order for everybody that wasn't essential business. And then he kind of towards the end threw in there that your local restaurant was an essential business. And we, you know, my sister and I looked at each other at that time and we're like, you know, we really don't feel like we're essential the way that healthcare workers are, or the police and fire are, or the people that are, you know, the food pantries that are providing food for the homeless folks and the homeless shelters. You know, these are the people that we felt were essential. And to help us feel a little more essential at the time, we wanted to do something to help. So we, you know, reduce the price of what our box lunch normally is so we could get mass distribution. We had tons of community support and, like I said, corporate sponsors that chipped in, and we were able to deliver those lunches out to, as you know, 10,000 people. And, you know, we were effectively able to help at Amita Mercy and Rush Copley and Advocate and VNA and, you know, everybody around in the Aurora area. And it was great. And it, you know, it helped us bring us through this because they were so appreciative, and we were, you know, it was just a mutually beneficial. I was able to keep our workers working, and we were able to do some good, and helped us actually feel a little more essential because it, you know, like I said, we're essential, but you know, we didn't feel like we were essential like a lot of the other frontline workers. So that's what we did. And then, you know, why we decided to reactivate it now is just over the last month with, you know, the increased hospitalizations, all of the healthcare workers in particular, they haven't gotten a break. You know, we all kind of felt a little bit of break in the summer where, you know, the positivity rates were down and we were opening it up. We were open up for indoor dining with restrictions, and we could have family events up to 50 people. And, you know, this whole time the healthcare workers are still, you know, putting themselves in harm's way on a daily basis to, you know, help people that are suffering from COVID. And then, you know, in the last month, it's really spiked. And, you know, we were seeing stories of, you know, whether it be videos on Facebook or people posting about, you know, their experience as a healthcare worker. And we really felt like if we could do a little something to make that better for them, because they're not able to be home with their families during these holidays. And they certainly aren't, you know, going out and spending time with large groups of their family because they have to go to work and they have to try to keep everybody safe, and they're in harm's way every single day. And we just wanted a little something to say thank you. So we reactivated it with the hopes that we'd be able to distribute some meals around Christmas time, just a little something, a little thank you to the healthcare workers in particular. It's certainly not, you know, just for the healthcare workers. People are certainly welcome to sponsor any organization or individual that they would like, but our main focus for this, it was kind of a shorter time frame too, because we really launched it right before Thanksgiving. We are starting to distribute the meals to a facility tomorrow, and then kind of over the next week and a half up to Christmas, get these meals out there. And then any sponsorships that come in, you know, between now and the end of the year, we'll certainly continue to you know, get out whatever we can after the first of the year. But it was really more about focusing on the fact that these healthcare workers are, you know, harm's way every day. They're not getting a break from this. It's getting worse for them. Really just a thank you during the holiday season when, you know, traditionally it's time that you get to spend with your family and just enjoy their company. And, you know, lots of people aren't able to do that, but we just kind of felt particularly, you know, wanted to show appreciation for the healthcare workers.
Right. Ryan, you have a lot of passion on this, and I understand that. And I think that's really commendable what you're doing. And, you know, this is a benefit for the healthcare workers and the others that would be supported. But, you know, it's the dual thing here. It helps out your people there too. And I think it's really beautiful that way, this idea. And, you know, we give out love. We don't always get it in return, but when it gets returned, it is good. And we're giving out love here by doing this. And I really appreciate Ryan here. And here's a phone number that you can call to get more information about Reuland's and this concept about feeding the frontliner. And I'm going to put up your website here now, which we've talked about a few times. So remember, ReulandFoodService.com. That's where you can get more information on all these things. And I'll put up your sister's email if people want to. Bridget Reuland at Gmail. That she's working on this program quite a bit, right, Ryan?
Oh yeah, she handles almost all of the incoming calls and inquiries. So she's yes, she is very passionate about it as well.
I gathered that you spoke of her when you both thought of this concept before. I really appreciate you thinking of that, and I appreciate the time we've had with Ryan here, and just help out if you can. The Reuland Food Service and this Frontline thought. How many are you thinking you might do 10,000 again?
Oh no, we kind of had an expectation of about 1,000, and we've hit that. So,
it's going to be several thousand at least, probably, maybe.
I mean, it certainly has the potential. Another difference from the spring to now is in the spring, it was kind of our industry was that it seemed like it was the most affected, but everybody's been affected by now, and it's been affected financially, personally, and so we don't by any means expect anything like we saw in the spring, but we figured it was worth a shot, see what we could do, help people out, help us out. So we kind of went into it, and it has a much shorter time frame. We were trying, within a couple of weeks, trying to raise some sponsorships to get these out before Christmas, possible, to help when we could. So it's kind of, that's where our expectation was, and we certainly are at that, and would look forward to certainly having any more. It still has the ability for the facilities that we've contacted already and have set up deliveries. We could increase the amount that they're, the amount of dinners they're getting. It's especially for like a Rush Copley, we'll just be scratching the surface of, their employees.
Oh, there's a lot of employees in these hospitals. It's in the thousands.
Oh yeah, there certainly is.
And at different times, there's, emergency room workers. There's others. There's there's everybody. There's a lot of people working in the healthcare field.
And we were fortunate in the spring to really be able to touch almost every single one of them. And we didn't have the expectation that would happen this time, but we just wanted to do what we could.
I know you're doing great. You're doing that. And I guess before we close here, I'm just going to do just one more thing I'm going to bring up here. It's not related quite, but just remember the VNA for flu shots and COVID-19 testing. And that's in Aurora here, and they're free. And I'm going to put up that phone number real fast here for our people, 630-892-4355. That's for that. And we're hoping we can see you all on Friday. We'll have a guest. Hopefully we'll have another related coffee house person. Hopefully that'll be on Friday. Ryan, I want to thank you for this time together. I can see you're really passionate about your work and about this, I would call the ministry, trying to reach out to others that are hurting with food. I just thank you for this opportunity. I hope we can get the word around here well. And we talked a little longer than we thought, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I know. We thought that might be the case.
I thought that might happen, and it did. But so I want to thank Ryan for being with us today. And just remember the opportunities that we have with Reuland's, several ways to help out the community with their program, Feeding the Frontline. And I think that's a very good idea, I really do. And so I just want to thank Ryan for being with us now. And so we'll see you hopefully on Friday, everybody. God bless, and bye-bye.